Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to a wonderful year of SEA streams. I'm Brittany Ramos, really excited to be back with you all. I see the chat is quite lively as usual, and I see we have some celebrities. I do believe Mr. Trent Sustich is in the building, and really he's more important than any of us here tonight. No, I'm just kidding. But it is good to see you all. If you are lurking in chat, please be sure to drop your names so that folks remember who you are. It's been a minute since we've been together, but it's lovely to be here again. It's hard to believe it's been an entire year without in-person events, especially for an organization like Shale Energy Alliance, which is so much about staying connected, having those events, and kind of staying on top of things. But I will say the pivot to digital went exceedingly well. So our stream this evening is a bit of a celebration. Everything that happened was traumatic, a little bit disturbing to every aspect of our life. I can't imagine any aspect that hasn't been touched by the pandemic and what's been going on. But we're through it. We're continuing to get through the challenges. We're rising to meet the challenges and creating opportunities out of them as an industry, as individuals, just as humans. So thanks for joining in. Glad to see y'all. We're going to recap some things, but we need to say thanks to quite a few people tonight. So first and foremost, we need to say thanks to the SEA team, who is all floating around in chat right now if you haven't seen them already. So a big thank you to Audric Dodds, Josie Schultz, Stephanie Paluta, Casey Jardinez, and Lynette Stevens, who have made this transition from in-person to digital almost flawless. When things went sideways, no one was sure what to do. They made some decisions, got things together. We started streaming with you all, and we continued that momentum through the year. Instead of just waiting around till we could get back together, we overcame adversity and found ways to stay connected. So say thanks to those folks who are doing a heck of a job keeping everything on the tracks. Next up, we have to thank our SEA partners. So they've been with us since the beginning of these streams. We were reaching out to organizations to see where we could partner. They were having digital events. They were having socially distanced events. They had legislation, regulation, things that we just needed to know about. So shout out to all of these organizations, great partners: Ohio Oil and Gas Association, Peters Township Chamber of Commerce, Marcellus Drilling News, the Monongahela Chamber, the National Association of Manufacturers, Shale Directories, Think About Energy, and the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. Thanks to those folks. I know a lot of you are members of those various organizations. They serve as a great glue to keep folks together and connected, which you might notice is a bit of a theme this evening as we get going. The other incredibly important group of people to thank, are all of you. It's been a year, and we didn't just sit on our hands and wait around. There was a presidential election. There were local elections that were incredibly important. There were pieces of legislation that we needed to discuss and weigh in on. Pro, con, didn't matter. But as advocates, you kept showing up in large numbers. And we're going to go through that throughout this evening. But honestly, take a moment and be impressed with yourselves. There was a global pandemic. There was an upheaval and everything, and you stayed on top of it. Great job showing up, staying up on what was happening around the region. All right. As always, we generally do these streams with a bit of a giveaway just to add the element of fun to it. We're giving away 2 $50 Visa gift cards this evening, and I'm not going to tell you how we're going to win them. I think some of you may have a clue as to how that goes, but just keep in mind throughout the broadcast, I'll let you know what to do. Take those cues. We like to reward participation here at Shale Energy Alliance, so make sure you're participating. We love seeing your photos. You've been seeing them in the bottom right corner. Again, Trent is a celebrity in his own right. Audrey, I think, was complaining that he didn't see his photo. Hopefully it's gone around. Or maybe you should just submit more photos. There's a solution. So send us your photos. Let us know what you've been up to this entire last year. Did you take up a hobby? I tried watercoloring. It's all right. I can do odd-shaped plants. I also planted real plants in landscaping personally, and then the deer found them, and now they're a buffet. So wins, losses, doesn't matter what your kids have been up to, what your pets have been up to. Maybe your pets went to obedience school and graduated. That's something to be proud of. Send us in a pic. All you're going to do is send an email, add your photo as an attachment, 1 photo attachment per email, and you can use the subject line as your caption. So let us know what's happening, give us your name, and just you'll see them pop up as we go through here. We are moderating, so again, nothing crazy. This is a kid-friendly broadcast, so please make sure it is appropriate. If you wouldn't show your grandma, we don't want to see it either. All right. So next thing we need to talk about is how we have been set up to success to this point. As I mentioned, Shale Energy Alliance didn't sit by. They thrived in this. And a lot of it came from traditional activities, which we would have gone to events and had you all there or gone to other events and partnered, and we shifted to digital. So I just think you need to keep in mind, and you may have already seen this number, but the eye fracking voted campaign, and a lot of the photos are zipping by in the cherry pick, was a phenomenal success that can't be understated. 1 million people put eyeballs on that campaign. 1 million people, that's phenomenal. We had 1,600 people pledge to vote in the election. And you guys know how close some of these elections were. It was the best turnout in decades across the country, across different communities, and you were part of it. You took part. Maybe it was just for the sticker, but if it reminded you to vote, didn't matter. So staying active, staying on top of it, getting your friends and family to vote, that was huge. So hats off to everybody who actually participated. And I think the other impressive thing is we had folks from 34 states participate in iFracking voted. That's all the way across the country, and actually one person from Mexico, but I don't think they voted in the election. They just wanted the sticker. Again, if it makes you active in your own process, that's fine too. So it went well. Outreach was known. It really caught some heads. We had a lot of great industry partners. Our SEI partners helped push it. We had companies like CNX, Range Resources, Capital Oil and Gas Corporation, EQT. They all leaned in. All of you folks leaned into your supply chain to get those stickers out there and talk about the importance to vote. So great job there. We're going to continue on that. Elections don't stop when there's not a president. So we'll keep in mind what's going on, and we'll let you know when to take action in the future. But great job there. Another thing we took action on kind of early in the year, and it went through its ups and downs, and we'll talk a bit more about that, was House Bill 1100 in Pennsylvania. In 2020, it was introduced as an idea to use locally produced natural gas to incentivize manufacturing to come back into the state or to build up. So goal was put local gas to work in manufacturing, reinvest, have Pennsylvania be open for business. It kind of went through an interesting place, but we asked you at one point to weigh in a very short amount of time. More than 300 people signed letters to Governor Wolf and leadership in the House and Senate expressing why this is so important. And that's tremendous, especially since we couldn't circulate a petition. We were asking you via email to sign up for these things. So great job there. And let me tell you, it did not go unnoticed. Shale Energy Alliance stood shoulder to shoulder with labor, with other manufacturing, petrochemical organizations, and chambers talking about why it's important to invest in the Commonwealth. So I say it didn't go unnoticed. Representative Aaron Coffer in Pennsylvania was thrilled, and he told us, very early on, as soon as you have an opening, I want to come talk to SEA. I need to talk to them. So without further ado, let's take it over to Representative Coffer.
Hello, everyone at the Shale Energy Alliance. This is State Representative Aaron Coffer from the 120th District from Luzerne County. Thank you so much for all your help and effort in helping get Act 66 done. Whether you want to call it House Bill 1100 or House Bill 732, Act 66, the bill that helped to make sure that we were going to be manufacturing in Pennsylvania using our natural resource and our abundant and accessible natural gas that we have. And so taking this to make sure that we have the next generation of jobs in Pennsylvania is major and massive. And we need to make sure that we're taking that next step of marketing it and making sure that we're getting out to let people know exactly what we did here in Pennsylvania and that we're open for business. There is huge opportunity, and we need to keep making sure that we're going in the right direction in marketing the affordable, abundant, and accessible natural gas in Pennsylvania. So I want to thank you for all your effort. We need to make sure we continue to grow our economy, make sure that our job creators know that we're open for business, and we need your help to make sure that they know that. So let people know about Act 66. We're proud of that effort, and there's more still to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Representative Coffer, for not only taking the time tonight to be with us and have this conversation, but also for being a tremendous advocate for the industry. It's great to hear a history of what's going on, how we assisted, and as you talked about, it's now up to everyone to talk about what Act 66 means and how it matters. And if you're not from Pennsylvania, it shouldn't affect you, because you should take that idea as to what that legislation is doing, what the law is doing to actually increase and say that the state's open for business. How can that be utilized where you live or work? Are there parts of it that make sense? How can you continue to make sure that there's a downstream demand for these products so that upstream can continue to function, the supply chain? And more than anything, it's putting folks to work in great jobs, building these facilities, working at these facilities, and keeping costs low for those businesses to continue to pass on to end use consumers. It's a win-win. So we will circulate in our follow-up email. It will be a hefty email tomorrow, but we'll circulate some information about Act 66, what you should know about it, where it is, how you can find it, and how you can talk about it, because education is so important. We're also going to tease out a little bit about the Commonwealth COVID comeback package that has been introduced as well in Pennsylvania. It very much follows the same idea as to how do we rely on the benefits that Pennsylvania has, abundant domestic energy, a great labor force, to put that back to work and kind of come out of this pandemic stronger than ever. So we'll circulate information. Again, Representative Coffer, we love the support. We are here for it, and we'd love to have you back anytime. So thank you again. I'm going to pause for a second because someone, Mr. Lauren Anderson's in the chat talking about what type of grandma. Is it PG-13? Is it R? I don't know about your grandma, and I won't speak to mine, but I will say my mother is watching this. So if we could just not scare Jan Thomas while we do this broadcast, that'd be great. Keep your pictures PG. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So now we're going to take some time and do our first giveaway. And we're going to use the ever popular and still showing up award. So I know most of you have heard this before, but advocacy is more than just talking about it, going to events, absorbing information. It's about sharing that information. It's about letting folks know what you're talking about, what you're seeing, what's going on out there. We're inundated with information all the time, but when it comes to time to take action, we need to vote. We need to show up and have testimonials. We need to be there and actually show our support, whatever that looks like in any form. So we're using a random. All you had to do was register for tonight's event, and you could be eligible to win. So Joseph Barron is our winner tonight. Congratulations. We'll reach out to you. We'll get you that gift card. Hopefully you can use it in your local community, maybe at a pop-up food truck or at a landscaping place. As a tip, please get deer safe plants. That was the mistake I made with my deer buffet. But congratulations to you. Thank you for showing up. Even though we have been doing this for, oh my gosh, over a year now, that's always an award we give out. Because again, you have to show up to be a good advocate. So congratulations. All right. Now, we've looked at the past, we've talked about successes that SEA has had, and honestly, listing them all out, it's tremendous, but we also need to set the table for the future here tonight. So we've asked speakers from all around the region to come and talk to us about what's going on from their perspective, and importantly, kind of give us a tease as to how SEA can stay involved and assist in these efforts. So first up, we have Charlie Bird, with the Gas and Oil Association of West Virginia, or GO West Virginia. This is a newer association. It's the combination of Ioga, West Virginia, and Wavonga. Just happened last year into this year. So we wanted to talk to him, see where he is, and let him give us an overview straight from West Virginia. So let's send it over to Charlie.
I'd like to start by saying here I am sitting here this morning as the Executive Director of the Gas and Oil Association of West Virginia, which occurred through the merger of the Independent Oil and Gas Association of West Virginia and the West Virginia Natural Gas Association. A great merger, two wonderful organizations now merged into one very strong and vibrant new organization. How did this occur? The process started in the spring of 2020, culminating in December with the merger votes from both associations. And on January 1, we became GO West Virginia. We're very happy that occurred. I believe as I look back, I would say that it was an opportunity not missed. An opportunity actually for the different segments of the industry to speak from one voice, to acknowledge each other in a better way, and to be able to move forward, understanding that together we're stronger than we are apart. We have the opportunity, to move gas out of our state to places in the country that need energy. And detrimental to that process was the loss of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline when they decided to abandon that project. But a bit of hope would be the Mountain Valley Pipeline, which still is under construction, literally 95% complete, a couple BCF a day of natural gas that would be taken away from the basin. And we look at that as an opportunity. But the challenge is to overcome the hurdles from the environmental activists who want to oppose those projects. Important to note that since the inception of horizontal drilling in the state in 2008, the industry has paid $1.5 billion in severance taxes to the state of West Virginia, severance taxes that are used to fund programs for all of its citizens, and another $1.3 billion in personal property taxes that go to individual counties. So very happy that we're able to do that. And as we move forward, in order to continue to do that, we need to modernize our laws to make us, give us at least some equal footing to some competing states that we have, not just around us, but in other parts of the country where producers, operators, and companies can invest. So as we modernize our laws, make us more efficient in drilling, in gaining investment for downstream use of natural gas and natural gas liquids, we are optimistic that that can happen for us. And to the Shale Energy Alliance, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to address your group and to promote the state of West Virginia and go West Virginia.
Thank you so much, Charlie, for joining us, especially towards the end of a very active West Virginia legislative session or season. It definitely is a rapid fire pace down there when you have a part-time legislature. So we appreciate the time you took to kind of reintroduce Go West Virginia to everybody and get folks information as to what all's going on. I actually wrote some stats down because I was shocked at them. So to reiterate, he said that since 2008, the natural gas and oil industry in West Virginia has paid $1.5 billion with a B in severance taxes and another $1.3 billion in personal property taxes. That is a stunning amount of money, almost $3 billion back into West Virginia for communities, programming, and other things down there that the industry has created as part of the supply chain, as part of an investment in that region. So that's an amazing stat. It gave me pause listening to it. I'll ask while I introduce things here or as things pop into your brain throughout the chat. If you know of any other crazy stats about the industry, drop them in the chat. This is what we're talking about, sharing information and staying informed. So if you know of any other, and I'm thinking of Lauren Anderson, because I'm sure he has one or two rattling around up there, please drop them. I also know that Liz Bowman with AXPC, a speaker later this evening, is in the chat too. So Liz, if you have anything you want to share, drop it in there. This is the time to think about it. So again, I'll reiterate, 1.5 billion in severance taxes and 1.3 billion in personal property taxes. That's not a drop in the bucket. So all right, we're now going to go from West Virginia to Ohio, neighboring state, and Matt Hammond with the Ohio Oil and Gas Association, or OOGA, is going to join us and give us his perspective on what's going on in the state, some challenges, and some opportunities. Let's take a listen.
Hi, my name is Matt Hammond. I'm the president of the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to share some thoughts with you on the state of the industry in Ohio. As we all know, the political landscape has significantly changed in Washington, D.C., and I think it's critically important that our industry works together to educate policymakers on the benefit of natural gas. This includes not just the economic benefits, but the environmental benefits as well. And I think anytime you're talking about one, you have to talk about the other with policymakers. In Ohio, we certainly have some challenges, but also opportunities. From the policy and regulatory space. Our primary overarching goals are improving operational efficiencies for our membership, and it is our hope that these policy changes are in place by the time commodity prices improve and rig counts increase for our members to be able to take advantage of those. I want to take this opportunity to thank our members who invest time and resources in the association and their commitment to achieve our goals. I want to thank the Shale Energy Alliance for the work that you do, and I look forward to working with you and our industry peers in the basin in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Your point about continuing education is so crucial. And I know sometimes it can feel like we're a broken record repeating this information. And I know Lauren just gave us a stat in the chat, which I wasn't lying. He could totally spit that off the top of his head, but that's important. We have new folks moving in and out of our communities constantly, which means you have new folks representing you at the school board, all the way up to state and federal level. You have regulators, you have just communities, chambers of commerce, other organizations that aren't familiar. They don't live and breathe energy like you all do. So education is important, and especially to your point, Matt, marrying not just the economic, but also the environmental and what that actually means. So thank you to OOGA. We'll be sure to link some of your sources in our follow-up email. You guys are a great SEA partner, very supportive, and we always appreciate it. All right, we're moving states again, and we're headed to Pennsylvania, where we're going to hear from Dave Callahan with the Marcellus Shale Coalition. Dave was just installed as president, I think last month or the month before. So while he is new to the organization and leading it, he is not new to the industry. Many folks are already familiar with him, but he was kind enough to kind of reintroduce us to the MSC and kind of walk through what to expect and what else going on. So now let's send it to Dave.
Hello, Shale Energy Alliance. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you. I'm Dave Callahan, and I'm president of the Marcellus Shale Coalition. The MSC was formed in 2008 and is comprised of approximately 100 producing, midstream transmission, and supply chain members who are fully committed to the safe development of natural gas resources in the Marcellus, Utica, and related geological formations. Our members represent many of the largest and most active companies in natural gas production, gathering, processing, and transmission in the country, as well as the suppliers and contractors who partner with the industry. As stakeholders in this industry, we all have great stories to tell about the tremendous energy, environmental, and economic benefits associated with responsible development and use of natural gas in our region. Natural gas is the backbone of a reliable, resilient electric grid. Natural gas is the primary reason why CO2 emissions have dropped 40% in the Pennsylvania electric sector. Natural gas is a clean fuel. Its utilization has led to tremendous gains in air quality. Natural gas is affordable. Wholesale electric rates have dropped 40% since 2008, and natural gas distribution company purchase gas costs have dropped from 67% to 85% across Pennsylvania. Natural gas is instrumental to dealing with the pandemic. It's the feedstock for PPE such as gloves, visors, and masks, not to mention syringes and the actual components of COVID vaccines. Natural gas is the building block to nearly every product we use in daily life. In short, it's essential. Finally, we're ready to fuel our post-pandemic economic recovery and bring more manufacturing back to this country and specifically to this region. We need opportunity from government and not elimination. We need predictability in how our permits are handled, and we need to eliminate roadblocks to infrastructure development in order to ensure that this important commodity can get to markets. Together, we can make our voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave, for joining us and providing an overview of how the MSC is advocating regularly for the industry and what all's going on there. So as we just heard, we need to talk economic and environment facts. Audric made a great point in the chat. We don't talk about our environmental benefits enough. So I'm going to reiterate, again, another great fact. So thanks to the increase in domestically produced natural gas, which you all remember, should remember, and be very proud of, stems mostly from Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, and the Marcellus and Utica shales, there's been a 40% reduction in emissions related to power generation in this country. 40%. That's insane. And the reason why is we're using more natural gas to produce our energy. More than a third of our energy that we use right now to power this situation is produced by natural gas. Lower emissions, better for the environment. That's huge. And then on top of it, he followed up with, there's also been a reduction in wholesale energy costs by a drop of 40% as well. So again, it's not either or. It's a falsehood. It's a false narrative that it has to be either environment or economic. The truth is it's having benefits across the board. So thank you so much for sharing that. I believe Natalie mentioned there's a fact sheet that the MSC has talking about that. We'll make sure we link that, other great information. Again, continuing the education flowing and getting that out there to all of you and beyond. We're going to make sure it's shareable so you have that information. All right, we're staying in Pennsylvania because our next guest is Dan Weaver of the Pennsylvania Independent Oil and Gas Association. So he's going to outline an incredible story and just putting things in perspective as what the industry is facing, not just locally, but also at a national level. So we have challenges, but as someone once told me, every challenge is also an opportunity. So let's go to Dan and hear his take on this.
Good afternoon, energy advocates. My name is Dan Weaver, and I am the president and executive director of the Pennsylvania Independent Oil and Gas Association, PIOGA. Thank you for providing me with a couple of minutes to discuss a few key issues facing energy producers in the Commonwealth this year and almost certainly in the continuing years that follow. We all know there are no shortages of challenges facing our energy industry nationally with the new administration and an emphasis being placed on climate change issues across the policy-making spectrum by the federal government. Our opponents are emboldened and active on both the local and national level. We need to be equally involved and vocal in pressing the narrative that oil and natural gas development in this country is part of the climate change equation and not the enemy. At Pyoga, we are undertaking a year-long program called Just the Facts to emphasize many of those important climate-related issues and the facts that support our position as a part of the solution, both in Pennsylvania and nationally. We are once again having to deal with Pennsylvania a proposed severance tax on natural gas production. The 7th time Governor Wolf has pushed to enact what would be the highest effective tax rate in the country. Combined with low commodity prices that we are all dealing with, this tax would bring new development to a near halt, not to mention a devastating economic impact on the Commonwealth. We are fortunate to have allies in the legislature that share the fight against this tax, but we cannot sit on the sidelines and allow them to be the only voices. We will continue to be active in Harrisburg to defeat this proposal once again. The challenges facing the need for more takeaway infrastructure are also taking on additional urgency in the national landscape. Choke points in the states to the north, east, and southeast are continuing to have significant negative impact on pricing and development activity. We are working with our regional and national industry partners to stress the safety, regulation, and need for pipelines. There's an expression one of the old Pyoga board members has always said. He said, all of the easy wells have been drilled. And that continues to be true and extends to the fact that all easy pipelines have been put into service, and even to the point that all easy burner tips have been installed. At the same time, the fact remains that the need for oil and natural gas is going to increase nationally and globally, and we as an industry and supporters of the industry are not going anywhere. The goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and addressing climate change is going to demand the use of natural gas. And we are going to be unabashed advocates and vocal stakeholders in telling our story to the people across the American spectrum. I ask you to join us. Make our voices heard. Get involved any way you can. Contact your state, local, federal legislators. Educate your friends and neighbors. And share your energy story about the importance of gas and oil in your life. Stand up and speak out for our industry. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dan. I think that you perfectly captured the exasperation, I could probably figure out some other E words here, felt across the Commonwealth with a 7th year running of a proposed additional severance tax on top of an impact fee. So it continues this idea that the industry can take more, but we all know the truth that having stable business environment is what's best in order to encourage growth, not just for the actual industry and the folks who work in it, but also from the end use side, from manufacturing, petrochemicals, power generation. If you have a stable source of energy, it's abundant. We know we have that. If prices remain stable and they're not spiking and going crazy, that encourages growth and investment in the region. So I know that SEA has in the past weighed in on a severance tax in Pennsylvania. I'm sure we stand ready to do so again. We've already sent a few folks to a petition by Americans for Prosperity that has a no new energy tax. We'll include that in the link as well for the email we send out. But it's an ongoing battle, and you highlight well that it's a challenge in Pennsylvania, but it's a challenge in West Virginia, it's a challenge in Ohio, and then it's a challenge in DC too. So what I will say is we continue sending out from SEA the in the know emails. Make sure you're getting them, you're reading through them. We're trying to stay as connected as possible and keep giving you a different perspective that you may not get every day. We're also actually very fortunate to have someone else join us today, Liz Bowman, who was in the chat earlier. I think she's still lurking about. She is with the American Independent Exploration Council, and their acronym is AXPC. So you may be aware of this organization. They're based out of DC. They focus on policy there. But as you'll hear, the actual members are state level. So the members of AXPC are all around this region. So there's a good connection between local and federal levels. So with all of that said, let's take it over to Liz to hear about AXPC and her perspective.
Hi, my name is Liz Bowman, and I'm the Vice President of Communications at the American Exploration and Production Council, or AXPC. AXPC is a national trade association in Washington, D.C. that represents the largest upstream onshore producers of oil and natural gas here in America. Many of our companies operate in Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We represent 8 of the 10 largest natural gas producers and many of the biggest domestic oil producers. And we like to say that our companies are the authors of the American energy revolution that brought our country jobs, economic prosperity, and energy independence. At AXPC, we work with state trade groups like the Shale Energy Alliance to ensure that our leaders in Washington understand that oil and natural gas produced in America is the safest and the cleanest in the world, and that Americans need access to affordable and reliable energy, and that the oil and gas industry is one of the most regulated industries in our country. One of the things that we know is that oil and natural gas is going to continue to provide our world's primary energy source for decades to come. So we want to work with Washington to make sure that they understand that access to affordable and reliable energy is a nonpartisan issue, and to ensure that our country can continue to lead the world in reducing emissions while also ensuring that we have stable and reliable sources of made in America energy. For example, we work with policy leaders across the aisle on ways to reduce emissions to address climate change, protect groundwater, promote natural gas for electricity, and support access to new markets for U.S. LNG. And we fight against policies that are bad for our industry and bad for our workers, like blocking pipelines or fracking bans. So as we continue to our work in Washington, we hope that you will join us by following us on social media. Our Twitter handle is at AXPC_US, and you can also find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you for having me here today to talk about the importance of American energy.
Thank you, Liz, for your message and for sharing with all of us who AXPC is and how we can stay connected. They're a great organization for information at local and federal level, and we'll look forward to other opportunities to collaborate. And you've heard that this evening, right? This is about collaboration with SEA partners, with the associations we had with us, with all of the folks we've had on SEA streams over the last 12 months. Honestly, thank you to everyone who's taken time and understands the importance of staying connected, because as Charlie said, we are stronger together, and the more information we can share, the more we can do together, the louder our voices can be, the better off we all really are. So one of the big things that we wanted to talk about is, again, 2020 successes. And this is where I'll get on my soapbox a little bit. I don't think this industry does enough good work in terms of celebrating your successes. It's always on to the next thing. It's always about innovating to the next thing and being the best and putting out whatever needs to be informationally told or talking to new folks. But rarely do y'all take time to do a whole victory lap. So we really wanted to make sure we did that tonight and kind of set the table moving forward that this last year has been incredibly challenging on multiple levels for a lot of people. But you all have persevered, and you didn't just survive, you have been thriving. You're one of the most active groups in the basin, and there's no membership fee. There's gatherings, there's information, you can get involved and sponsor events, but we haven't had events to sponsor. It has been a total upheaval of the way things go, but you've stayed connected because there's value, and there's value in being connected to others who want to share that passion. So great job to all of you. Honestly, another round of applause to everyone tuning in tonight. Before I get to the exciting announcement this evening, we do have a little bit of unfinished business. There's another gift card to give away. And as you may have guessed, I know we didn't hide it very well, but we are going to be going to the photos, and a winner will be randomly selected and texted to my cell phone by someone who is monitoring on the back end. Again, we've taken out all of the inappropriate photos, but someone will be selected at random to win a $50 gift card. So we'll reach out to you, get that in the mail as soon as possible, or drop it off. So now, possibly, I'll get a name here. But in the meantime, I want to remind you that all of these photos will make the link available so you can see it after the broadcast. And more than anything, we'll also include some of the old photos too. We had, hundreds of people on the last one all throughout the 12 months. So we'll be sure to include those. All right. The great winner is Florin Anderson. Congratulations, man. You've been with us since the first stream. You've been a great advocate. You also work for one of our partners, so thank you so much. Maybe I'll drop it off and I'll say hello socially distant to you. Congratulations. We'll send that out to you. All right. And now, little sad news, little exciting news. This will be our last SEA stream for the foreseeable future. I know. Sense of camaraderie. You guys love it. I'm sure you love listening to my voice, and you're going to miss the lime green dining room. I know it in my soul. But the reality is things are changing, and SEA does not get stuck in its ways. No, we adapt, we improvise, and we overcome. I believe I just stole someone's tagline. But we're going to get better and continue doing these streams where it makes sense. So we may have some special streams here or there, maybe around elections or topics, but we're also preparing to go to in-person events. You're going to see a human being with your own eyes who is not a member of your family. I love my husband, I do, but I'm very excited about that. So we want you guys to keep an eye out. We are announcing the return of the SEA Marksman Challenge. We will send out a special email letting you know when it is so you can save the date. We're just finalizing some details right now. We'll send it out. We hope to see you there. I'm very excited to see you all bump elbows at a respectable distance and also shoot sporting clays because it doesn't feel like it's been years. It's literally been years at this point for me. So I'll be a little rusty. Stephanie Paluda is still the reigning champion of all sporting clays. So make sure you got your sights set there. But the good news is we're not going radio silent. We're still around. There's still events we're going to be promoting like the Earth Day Energy Cleanup in the note emails, which I've already talked about with all of that information. And we're going to ask you guys too, keep your eyes and ears out. If you need us to help promote things, if there's something that needs attention, there's a public hearing, or maybe there's a comments period. Maybe there's a piece of legislation you're worried about, or there's a local election that you're like, oh, that's interesting. Let us know. SEA is here to help be the glue between as many folks as we can, stay connected, and continue that momentum through 2021 because we're going to be better than 2020. Like, yeah, we reached 1 million people last year. Cool. How can we improve? I know Audric is forever raising the bar on us. So that all said, I very much hope to see you this in the next couple of months in the summer at the SEA Marksman Challenge. But that concludes everything. Thank you so much for the last 12 months. I've enjoyed myself. I hope you guys have as well. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good evening.